Good evening, everybody. This is Tuesday, January 18th. This is our nightly commentary from Market Truth. We're going to go over the broad-based indices, and then we're going to follow up with another video after this on Apple and some other equities today. Um, I did a special review on Apple last night, and I mentioned in the review that the price action that the market would have, not just Apple, but the broad based indices, would really be a great tell for how strong this market is right now. And, with Apple being a leadership stock, making up 20% of the NASDAQ, and sure enough, I mean, this morning pre-market, the S&P futures were down about three handles. The Nasdaq futures were down about 1%, which was really, really tame for a stock that was getting slaughtered in Europe on Monday. And sure enough, once the market opened, it was off to the races. We're currently looking at an intraday chart. The lower right-hand panel, this is the intraday on the Qs. We opened on the low. We pretty much shot straight up. These are the intraday volatility levels. We broke through it and held and pretty much closed on the high of the day, going into Apple's earnings this evening, which was a blowout earnings report, as well as a blowout report from IBM. This is the weekly over here for the Qs. And you'll notice, let me maximize this for you. You'll notice that we're already trading. This is usually just a great tell when we get up to the weekly high volatility levels already on a Monday. You notice we failed there. That level is 57.20. The high was 57.23 when we went out at 57.16. But a very, very strong performance. Very impressive. On the quarterly in the upper right-hand corner here, you'll notice that we're right at that quarterly, just like we've been talking about for several days now, and we're above the monthly here on the upper left-hand corner. You can see that we actually broke through and confirmed on the monthly. So I mean, it's really, really hard to say that this market is looking toppy or that it's looking for a reason to sell off, because there's nothing that I see technically that's pointing towards that. The S&P was a little bit weaker. Here's the intraday on the S&P lower right hand panel. We'll maximize that. You'll notice that we actually never broke through that volatility level. We actually traded right up to it and never broke through there. So you can see the relative difference between the NASDAQ and the S&P. When you look at the lower left-hand panel here, this is the weekly. You'll notice that we didn't quite get up there, but the level to watch will be 129.86. We went out at 129.52, so in the futures we're about four handles off that level. We want to see that trade through that level tomorrow and confirm it to show some strength for the rest of the week. But when we look at our monthly upper left hand panel, you'll notice that we broke through on the monthly. We pretty much did the confirmation. Remember on the previous broadcast I talked about we needed to see the S&P close above that, and it's exactly what it did. So where does that leave us? I mean, right now we're going into earnings season, and what earnings season makes it a little bit tricky, because every night, you get a good report, the market will gap up the next day. You get a bad report, the market will gap down the next day. But you want to try to take a few steps back and see the forest through the trees, because you're going to get, choppy action back and forth. But the general trend continues to be to the upside. As you look at these indices, there's absolutely nothing that says look out below, here comes the market tumbling down. I mean, we should have really seen some selling on the Apple news, regardless of what the news was. If anything, there should have been there should have been an excuse to sell the market down on the Apple news, and the fact that Apple opened it down right where we said it was going to open, around 326, and pretty much shot up 15 points off the low, and then it moved up higher in after hours. This tape is looking really good. Blowout reports from IBM and Apple, and we're going to follow up. Our next report will be an equity review. So that's where we are in the indices. On the monthly, we got confirmed buy signals. Nothing yet on the weeklies, and we're rubbing right up against on the quarterlies.